Hello again, it's Noob, and what we have here is this extremely handsome looking Mako Locks model number 128 padlock, one of their new range I believe. And this, despite its sort of brushed steel looks, is actually an all brass body padlock, I'm led to believe. And it takes small format interchangeable cores, or SFIC cores. Apparently it'll take all sorts of leading brands of the A2 system, so Best and Arrow Falcon, things like that. So very, very cool. And isn't it just a really, really lovely looking lock? So I'm sure you are very much aware, but small format interchangeable core locks themselves have two keys. So they have an operating key, which opens the lock, like that. And you see it has a double ball bearing locking mechanism, so it's anti-shim, very cool. And then you have a separate key, and this one is marked CK, so I'm going to guess control key. And the control key actually allows you to remove the whole core. There is a, let me get the whole sort of, this bit acts on the actuator at the back of the lock, don't worry about that. But what this does is it turns this, let's call it a locking bar. And what's actually happening here is this locking bar retains the core inside the lock just behind this ledge down inside there, which you can clearly see. So lock it back up, pop it in, and there we go. So this is a 6-pin core, like I said. This body will take the 7-pin best cores as well, if that's your preference. But it's kind of cool. Let's just look at the different bittings on the two types of key here. So what we have is a control key at the front, and you can see that the bittings are extremely different. Why is that? Well, the key pins, of course, are present, but you also have two driver pins, essentially providing two different shear lines inside the pin chambers, so essentially 3 pins per chamber. There are loads of great videos out there about sport format interchangeable cores, so go look them up if you are really, really interested in how those work. However, if I pick this, and I'd like to pick it to control so that I can essentially gain control of the of the lock, if I can do that, there we go. Then I will gut this and we can have a look. What's interesting, and I'm going to read off the Mako website here because I do think it's interesting. It says that this is the Mako M-2 system, and it says that most off-the-shelf SFIC A2 systems come with only standard brass pins, relying solely on high tolerances for pick resistance. Because their bottom pins are brass, let's call them key pins, it says the locks wear down quickly in high use scenario, requiring they be refurbished or replaced. I'm not sure how true that is, but that's from their website. It says there are several existing products on the market that address these issues, but they're significantly more expensive, making them not cost effective for most. Now, the most interesting bit here is it says, and I'm interested to see what's inside, the Mako M2 system aims to find a balance between these two extremes, more security without breaking the bank. All Mako M2 system SFIC cores come standard with a combination of spool, serrated, T and no bump pins for superior pick resistance. Well, I'll be the judge of that. And made of, so the bottom pins are also security pins, which is cool, and made of nickel silver. Apparently, they say, extending the life of the lock. So that was all from Mako's website. You can go read that. I might just drop a link in for you. But it's kind of cool because I've picked some other SFIC locks, and actually they have all tended to be standard pins in it. Maybe that's just coincidence, I don't know. But I am interested to see what Mako security pins are like. Right, enough of me waffling on. Let me go throw this in a vise. We'll try to pick it to control, and then we'll gut it and see what's actually inside. So we have quite a paracentric keyway. I'm going to use this slim down tension tool, which will sort of sit between the warding. Got to be careful it doesn't splay out the two sides of the plug and trap the rotation, but that's okay. Got a nice slim Southwold Max 07B. Just going to go in and pick those pins. Let's see where we are. Got binder straight away on pin, like I think it's, I'm going to guess 4. Right to the back again. Not getting anything on that last pin. Little click on pin 5 there. Ooh, nice click on pin 3. Go all the way to the back again. Nothing on 6. 5, 4, 3 again. 2 and 1. Oh, ooh, is that a full set? That looks like a full set. Let's check it's a true full set. Yeah, I think that's a full set. So there's spool pins in here. Check that last pin. No. Nothing. 5, 4, 2, 1. Just going to go in with the Peter's Gem 18,000 just to see if I can get around any of those pins. See if there's anything that needs to be set that I can feel. Oh, just tap pin 2 there and I have control of the cylinder. So yeah, it's a little 6 pin and very, very cool indeed. Right, sorry for the cutaway. You can see that it's still in its picked to control position. You can't do that if you've still got the key in it, naturally. So yeah, I'm going to now attempt to gut it. So reset the cylinder. I'm just curious as what's inside. Now, I would not normally recommend gutting an SFIC cylinder at all, purely because of the way that these work. They have, well, 3 pins to get to the 2 different shear lines inside these locks, and you can mess this up and destroy the springs. It's just that I feel that really we should still give this a go because it's a new lock from Mako and I really want to see what's inside. Is that the control key? That's the control key, don't want that one. We want the one that turns the core, if I can get that one. Now I'm confused. Oh, that's why. I need to align it properly. So that's the control one. There, that's the position we want. Okay, good. So, where's my shim? Can I get a shim in? Yes, I can. Good. Now, I believe that this pen is the right size for this type of cylinder. So far, so good. Now, this isn't necessarily the hard part. The hard part is actually reassembling. The gutting of these isn't too impossible, but it's oh, these are cool. Oh, well, I'm just gonna empty it out and then we can explore these together. But so far I'm very much liking what I'm seeing. got to get these pins as they come out just right. So this one is going to go exactly the way up it's found in the lock, corresponding with the correct pin. And the reason why this is so tricky to put back together is because this centerpiece is floating, and therefore if you accidentally twist it, you can trap these springs, and putting these together is just unpleasant. I'll do that off camera because it'll involve lots and lots of swearing. This is cool. These two pins are, oh my goodness, wow, I did not expect that. That's awesome. Oh, I can't wait to show you inside these. Well, I'm going to have a horrible time putting this back together, but just look at these awesome pins. Oh, they're escaping. So first of all, it looks like all of the key pins are steel, so for their anti-drill properties. So look at these, and they have spooled key pins. So if you overset them, they'll end up acting like spools. Then the sort of, let's call them the wafers, even though they're not, that act like the center shear line, are a mixture of standard pins, T-pins, serrated pins, well, spools, I guess, multiple spools and single spools. And then you've got T-pins again, standard pins, multi-spools, and standard pins again at the top. And I'm really impressed. That is absolutely lovely inside there. I was not expecting such a range of pins, maybe some spools at most, but to have these multiple spools, T-pins, standard spools, and spooled key pins, I mean, that's really nice. I'm really impressed. I'm going to hate putting this back together, but that is such an awesome lock. I love it. Well, there you go, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing inside this lock. It is absolutely amazing inside there, and I'll see you all next time.